So I'm Chris. I'm Yelena's husband. So just a quick background. I met Yelena at Superstore. I worked my way up from grocery there to assistant store manager. Have absolutely no baking experience before I opened up this business. I actually started looking for a business when I was on, I took maternity leave when we had our son Alexander. So I was looking for a business that we could start up. So I looked at a few different things and I came across COBS. Even though I hadn't baked before I went there, I spent a day in the bakery and I thought, you know what, this is something I could figure out. I really love food, so it was just a perfect fit. I ended up training for 4 months over on a Southside location in Rutherford and Crestwood, not too far in the west end of Edmonton. And over that time, I gained enough skills that I can pretty much handle myself in any place back here, and I've been able to train up quite a few bakers. When we started with a couple people with NATE training and a little bit of experience, and then we took also a few people that had no baking experience at all. I found that it really doesn't matter if you have any experience as long as a person's motivated and wants to learn. There's no issues at all. Just to point out, we do have some treats and snacks for you guys. The only thing we're not going to eat right now is the cinnamon buns, because we're going to take those over to the bank afterwards. So you guys have to eat your dinner before you can have your dessert. Just to point out some stuff we have here. We have some stuff that I've really never even made before. Just wanted to test them out and try them out. So we have mini ham and cheese croissants. So it's just like our regular croissants, just a smaller version. Mini pizza bun, so it's a white dough with pizza sauce, cheese, and a little bit of ham on it. So I don't have any vegetarian option for that. And we did a sweet chili scroll. So it's similar to a cinnamon bun, except it's done with a savory white dough filled with cheese and sweet chili sauce, and then topped with a little bit more cheese and sesame seeds. I haven't really sold too much sweet chili stuff because we did try it out a few times and it didn't take, so I might try with this so people get used to it. And then we also have, before everyone goes, we have some little boxes for you guys to take home with you. So it has a couple of different items in there. We put one of each of our hot cross buns in there. Coming up on Easter, we just started making our hot cross buns. We have a traditional with a raisin and currant chocolate chip, which is quite nice. Tastes almost like a muffin. And a new flavor that has just come out. It's orange and cranberry. So it has a little bit of candied orange peel, a little bit of dried cranberry, and then gets done off with the orange glaze afterwards. So that's quite a tasty product. Just got some staff coming in out here.
You have to dance through this.
So I'll just give you a quick rundown of kind of what happens in a day of a bakery and what all this stuff is around here and what we do. So the baking day starts every day around 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, depending what time I come in. I pretty much opened this place every day since September. I think I've had 3 or 4 days off since then, since we opened. Long term, I don't want to work that many days, but you know, while we keep building up the team's capabilities, I want to really make sure I'm here to guarantee we have really good product, because that's the key to a business like this, that you have the best quality product you can have. With baked goods, you always have issues. You're almost on a constant, journey to try to get perfection. Every little thing you do, if you let dough sit a little bit longer, can change the outcomes of the product. So there's a lot of science and a lot of art to it. So first thing I do when I come in is I have a few things weighed up from the previous day. So just the basic start of the baking happens in this big bowl over here. It holds about 60 liters. So, I'll put around 30 kilograms of flour and various things like salt, improver, yeast. Here I have yeast, just so we can show what we use, and add water. So, this is a small location, but we use the space best we can. Underneath our workout benches here, we have the basics of basic ingredients of the bread making process. Salt. We have one been labeled gluten, so we have a product that is actually just gluten, so that's why we don't sell gluten-free gluten-free, to be honest. There's gluten all over in this bakery. Flour in the air, we know it looks pretty clean now. At the end of a baking day, there's going to be just flour dust all over the place. So never would really be able to do gluten-free. Bread improver. Bread improver is a product used in commercial baking that allows you to make bread in around a 4-hour period as opposed to a 12 to 16-hour period that other processes would take. I got sugar, semolina. We don't use too much. It's in some continental doughs and other products. We do dust our panna de casa in it. Soft improver, similar to the bread improver, we use it for cinnamon buns and all our sweet products. It creates a little bit of a softer finish to the dough. Light rye flour and high fiber concentrate, which we use in our high fiber loaf. So it's a mix of oat, wheat, and various fibers so that we have a nutritional value of our high fiber similar to a whole wheat bread. But it's a perfect product for kids who just don't want to eat a whole wheat product or a grain product. So you get that nutrition mixed along with, the taste of white. So like I said, mix all those ingredients in the bowl. Dough's mixed from about 10 to 15 minutes depending on the product. And after it comes out of the bowl, we divide it up. So we would take, say, a 16 kilogram piece, and we would use this machine here, which is a dough divider. Got snacks on it, can't really do much, but put the dough in there, close the lid, press it, and it'll make it into 20 equal pieces. So if I need 800 gram loaves, I'm just going to put 16 kilograms in it, divide it, and then round it out. From there, it's going to go sit on this little thing with a cover here. It's called an intermediate prover. So we put it on, what do you call those things? Boards. And just leave them there, and we cover it up so the doughs don't skin up. And we leave it there from 30 minutes to an hour depending on the dough. That allows the gluten to relax and allow us then to work the product so that we can either form it by hand or by machine. So after it's sat, which we have all sorts of timers around here so that we know how long things are sat. You'll get 3 different products on there, and you need to communicate with your processors what's happening. So after it sits on there for however long it takes, we process it. So some stuff gets processed by hand, say our cinnamon buns. Those we roll out by hand, and we cover in the margarine, cinnamon sugar, and then roll it up. Other things we run through this machine here. This is a bread molder. So we'll put in hunks of dough, and then it'll kind of stretch it out, and we'll cut it up and put it in the pans. We also have at the very back there, it's a bun rounder to round out buns. It's a little hard to see over there. So instead of rolling them all by hand, we have a machine to roll them out. Sometimes it doesn't work so well, and we still have to finish them off by hand, but it saves a lot of time. On a holiday, say like Christmas, we'll make probably 3,000 plus buns. So, I mean, that's the day where we're in at 9 p.m. the day before. Very busy, just trying to get those out. I know this Christmas we probably didn't even have enough buns early enough, but we're looking at now Easter, just getting loads and loads of buns out. So, after it's processed, it's put onto racks, and it goes into this big metal box here. That's the proofer, or prover, depending if you go by the Australian or the English term. There it sits at about 35 degrees Celsius, 85 degree humidity. So that allows then the yeast to, expand and turn it into bread pretty much. It sits in there anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 to 3 hours for buns. So it can be a lengthy process. From there, it's quite as simple. It comes out of the proofer, goes into the oven, and gets baked. If you can see back there, we have a 3-deck oven. It rotates around, so it acts almost like a convection oven. It doesn't actually blow the air, but it rotates around, and that helps bake the product. On the top, it's a little bit higher, so we can have the open products, the ones that dome up a little more. In the middle, we put our block loaves, which is the majority of our product. They're rectangular square loaves that we sell mostly. Those go in the middle, and I have stones on the bottom. They retain heat, and that's more for our artisan products like our sourdough, our panna de casa, our urban garlic, and our Turkish. So on that, I said most of our products go through in 4 hours. We do have some products that do take about 16 to 20 hours to make. Obviously, we can't make all our products like that, or we just wouldn't be able to put out enough stuff. Specifically, our panadic acid will be mixed around noon to 2 in the afternoon. All it is white flour, salt, yeast, and a little bit of oil. And we mix it up in the mixer about 8 minutes, and then we dump it into a bin, and it just sits out for about the 12 to 14 hours it needs. And that allows the bread to get, ferment a little more, and it adds a little bit of extra flavor, and it has a little bit different texture. So it's very similar to your white bread, but it has, you know, a slightly different taste. And the way we bake it, then it's got a much harder finish to it. Also, our sourdough, we do similar. Here we do use a sourdough powder base. There is a way that sourdough is made where you have something called a levain, where it sits and you refeed it. They do that in Australia. If I haven't explained, COBS bread is owned by a parent company, Baker's Delight, in Australia. They just came to Canada 10 years ago. They've been in Australia for 30 years. They have about 700 locations in Australia and New Zealand. Right now they're around 80 locations in Canada. So they do take a lot from Australia, but there is a lot unique about the Canadian operations. So like I was saying, some other products that sit quite a long time are Turkish bread. Do we have a Polish? Where is it? No, we mix
yes,
the new one.
one.
Okay, so anyway, basically we take water, a flour called ARW. It's called ARW stands for Alberta Red Winter flour. Just as a side note, all our flour is from Alberta. I believe even all the Australians, they use the Alberta flour because they consider it pretty much one of the best in the world, Alberta and Saskatchewan flour. So it's really nice to know you're getting actually a local product. And obviously not everything we have locally you can't all get the produce and such, but to know that all the flour does come from the province is quite nice. So as I was mentioning, the Turkish, we just mix flour, water, and just a touch of yeast, and it forms what's called a poulish. So it's like a big sloppy mess. So that sits for 16 to 18 hours, and then we mix it with some more flour the next day, and then it sits for another hour. We do some stuff with it, flip it, sit another hour, and eventually we get what's called Turkish. So that's one of our nicest products, one of my favorites. It's very similar with ciabatta bread. If I did one little bit, let it sit another hour and folded it once more, it would be ciabatta. So it might be similar to an item that you do know, but it's baked at 250 degrees Celsius on a stone, really proofs up. Really great with olive oil and vinegar, which we have here for you. Went to the Italian Center, got some nice olive oil and vinegar for you guys. First time I tasted that bread, I just took a whole loaf and I took it home and I finished it off all by myself. So right now it's a product I only make twice a week, Friday and Saturday. With a lot of the products, people just don't know what it is, and you have to sample it. Why, Rick? You just have to sample it and let people know what it is. So throughout the year, COBS runs different promotions. So whenever those promotions come up, I take advantage, and then we sample the heck out of the product so people get to know what it is. Earlier this year, we did the urban garlic like crazy, and it still sells great. We're actually one of the best in the country at selling it. We did the chia fruit and apricot. We're going to do the Turkish a little bit later. Right now we're doing the hot cross buns. So just as this new stuff comes up, sample it out, introduce the people to it because they might not have seen it, and then just hope you can carry it afterwards. Obviously we've been adding more and more. I have to look at, cutting certain things back. You can't just add forever, otherwise you get too much. So then we slowly figure out what days we make certain breads on. Like Tuesday, Thursday is our German rye, which has done very well out here. Wednesday we do our pumpernickel. Friday, Saturday we do our Turkish. Still figuring out what we're going to do on Sunday, Mondays, but as different products come up, we'll do, maybe I'll bring French bread or something along that lines. With that said, when we do a French bread, it's pretty much a real French bread. It's not a white bread made into a baguette. It's, similar to the Turkish dough. It sits for 16 to 18 hours. and then it's done on the stone. So a little bit of a harder bread to do, but you know, the quality is just there. You know, that's one thing I love about this. Everything we do is really quality goods. Whenever possible, COBS, you know, they'll do something, give us a more expensive ingredient if it's a better ingredient. We switched from canola oil to sunflower oil because there's a lot of GMO concerns. I'm not too big on that myself, but for a lot of people it is something they think about. We went to a new croissant product that's a little more expensive but tastes much better, so you know, always those nice improvements. That's why I really, you know, like working with this company. So you wanted to know what we do with the bread at the end of the day. So in a day we make from $4,000 to $6,000 worth of bread. Usually at the end of the day we have about $1,000 left over of product. Everything we do is fresh, so that's everything you see. If we don't sell it, it's gone at the end of the day. We give to a number of charities and church groups. We were previously doing 5 days with the Parkland Food Bank. They couldn't handle all 5 days. They only offered really 3 days, so they had some logistical issues. So what's the name of the new group we went to? Everglades. Yeah. So I know they work with people with some mental disabilities and help them. So I'm really happy because I knew the Parkland Food Bank was couldn't really handle all the stuff we were giving them. I know. So you know, it's nice to get some other groups out there, spread it around, and you know, help out some different people. So yeah, pretty much at the end of the day, everything that's not sold, our people put it into plastic bins that we have at the back of the store here, and they'll come up. Food bank will pick it up the next morning. The other groups, they'll usually come and pick it up at the end of the day around 7 to 7:30. So you know, that's one thing that I love about this business. I know a lot of the grocery stores, if it's old, it's in the trash. I know at Superstore we were just tossing out tons and tons of product. Nothing against them for doing that. It's what they have to do. And even when they do donate, often what they're donating is 3-4 day old product, where we're donating product that might have come out of the oven 8 hours before. It's fresh product. It's good product. It can help out a lot of people. That's why I'm honestly not. I run my waist a little high because I know it's going to go to a good cause at the end of the day, so I'm not too worried about that at all.
Is this something all COBS stores do, or just?
Pretty much all of them do that. The only stuff we can't give out is stuff with cheese or meat, which would be a health risk. So pretty much everything else goes. I know COBS is working now. Previously they had worked with the Big Brothers, Big Sisters. They did a big scone campaign every year. They're looking at changing that right now to a group that helps schools with their lunch programs. So it's not all set yet, but they're eventually going to do a program where we're going to provide, hopefully, bread to various schools that can use it for their lunch programs. We'll probably also do, there's a seasonal scone, so we're going to have a new scone coming out. It's blueberry lemon. So it's got a little bit of lemon pie filling, a little bit of real frozen blueberries, and then it's topped with a glaze made with lemon juice and powdered sugar. I've tasted it, it's very good. It's going to be a really nice summer scone.
What are your best-selling products?
Our best-selling by far is the cinnamon bun. People love the sweets. Cinnamon bun, ham and cheese croissants up there. White bread and country grain bread also very high. Some days we're running out. I know dinner buns we're selling about 180 a day, so a lot of our white and our country grain does very well. We're also very high on sourdough compared to the other COBS. You can kind of feel that German, I think, or European background in Spruce Grove, and I think that's what drives a lot of the product buying. I have quite a bit of family that goes way back in this community. I have a mix of German background, native, French, so I've had family in this area for over 100 years, and you can tell every different location does a little bit different products. So that's been the challenge right now for us, figuring out what does this community want, what are they going to buy. I trained in one area where they have a higher ethnic East Asian, so every bit of difference in demographics is going to change what you sell. I know that back from my Superstore days, I worked all over the city, and in some of the city locations we sold huge ethnic, like what, 30,000+ a week before. And you go out to stores like this in St. Albert, it's like $1,000 or $2,000. So, you know, very different, but across all COBS, pretty much the Cinnamon and Bud is our top product. Yeah.
The bell.
Well, I might be here.
Oh yes, the bell. So I really don't use that. I'm more of a shy, more introverted person. But what that bell is meant to use is when you have fresh product coming out of the oven, you're supposed to give it a ring, you know, and announce it out. Certain locations, they're in malls, they're in a little more open spaces, so it's a little, you know, easier to use. Half the time when we have stuff coming out, no one's even in here, so it's, but you know, come summer, if the flies aren't too bad, I'll open up that door and, you know, give it a ring.
So when do you sleep?
When do I sleep? 4 p.m. to midnight if I can. We've had some days where I remember a few days we had sales staff calling sick earlier on, and I started at 2 a.m. and I didn't leave till 8 p.m. Christmas Eve was a 20-hour shift from 9 p.m. to 5 p.m. Christmas Eve, so I mean it was a little bit of a sacrifice on our part. Hopefully next Christmas Eve we're in a little better place where our team's stronger and we can move things around. And it's, you know.
Well, just call for Rotarians; they'll show up.
Yeah, I'll put you guys to work.
The COBS logo is right on this. Like when you bought the store, all the pieces came
Yeah,
with it.
pretty much everything was in here. Obviously, we had to pay for everything. They didn't cut us any breaks on that, so we do own the equipment. Since it's such a large network, they have really good deals with their suppliers. Little things we have upgraded, you know, little bits of shelving here and there. We're free to add anything we want, you know, if we want to add any more shelves or things like that. But they provide us everything we needed. And then we just add, you know what, we need to add computer, chairs. You know, when we first opened up, we had no chairs in our office, and we were kind of on our knees. But you know, now my dad got me a really nice reclining chair in there, so, and then we went to Walmart and got a folding chair with it. So. Any other questions?
How many times is that mixture filled every day?
We do about, I would say, 12 different doughs. So it constantly goes. Once we start at 2 a.m., we've gotten pretty efficient at it, so we're usually done the mixing by 7 or 8 in the morning, so around a 5 to 6 hour window. Obviously Christmas, we're going from 9 p.m. to pretty much until noon that day. But it'll go 5-6 hours, and then it'll still take a while to work its way through the system. So after that, it still has to sit for 30-45 minutes. You know, 30 minutes processing, maybe an hour or two in the proofer, and then the oven. So usually someone will start alone, and they'll start on the bowl. Someone comes an hour later, starts processing, and then someone comes on the ovens about an hour later there.
So you pretty well shut down if that thing goes down.
You know, that's a little bit of a nightmare scenario. If that thing goes down, we're in big trouble. I'm looking at getting a smaller bowl just because we do enough business I can justify it. And if something ever did happen, we would have a little bit of backup. But that is like one of the key pieces of equipment. And you know, repairing anything in this place is very pricey. There's a little switch on the oven that turns the rotation on and off, and it's this little switch, and it costs $400, and you need to replace it. So all of this stuff is so specialized. Anything goes down, and it's a pretty big bill. If that did go down, you know, we can hand mix scones, we can do croissants, we can apologize a lot to our customers. But yeah, it would be I'm sure, you know, I'd call them out, get them out here. They couldn't come out and see if I could jam a jury or something. We did have some days, I know me and Yelena were here in the morning, and you know what, we pressed the button and it just didn't go, and we started fiddling around and, you know, got into a little bit of a minor panic, but then realized, oh, just have to press the button a little bit more, and you know, it's get it going. But that would be quite scary if, you know, you're looking at it taking probably a $3,000 to $4,000 loss, so it could be a pretty big issue.
So no days off.
Awesome. Not yet, but they'll come. Anything else, or do you guys want to start trying so.
I think we should start sampling.
You missed breakfast?